Welcome back. Earlier this week, Washington County Public Schools named Boyd Michael as the next superintendent of schools. Danielle, do you approve of the county's pick to succeed Clayton Wilcox by the elected school board?
I'm sad to see Clayton go. I think he did a lot for our county schools as well as, Betty Morgan, like we've talked in the past. I do not know this gentleman yet. I've heard a little bit about him, but there was something I wanted to bring up was the timing that it took to find him. I was a little confused because I thought that they were going to be naming an interim superintendent, and then all of a sudden we have someone named right away that I don't know anything about. So, it's taken, I think, 57 days for them to get to this point, and that was a little unsettling for some people as far as what I've read in the media. I am not that upset about it, though. With us having new board members in place, I think that that's a decent amount of time given the holidays as well. And I would rather them take their time and make sure that we have the right person here. I mean, Clayton's shoes are going to be very, very big to fill.
What do you think?
Well, as we've talked in the past, I think Boyd Michael is eminently qualified for this position. He was under serious, I believe he was under serious consideration prior to this when Dr. Wilcox was hired. In that, no question, I think he'll do excellent in the county. He does have the political dynamics to move through with the elected board. I would have liked to have seen a little more communication from the elected board on how the process was going. Mm-hmm. Because we're sitting there and we're like, well, what's going on? Knowing, and I think you understand this issue, getting a very qualified candidate to take over as superintendent by July 1 is a year-long process. And there was just really no way to get that done in an effective fashion on a truncated schedule with Dr. Wilcox leaving in March. So with Dr. Michael stepping in, it's good that we stayed home and good that we promoted a homegrown talent into the school system. He's familiar with the system. I think it's really a benefit to us. How it's going to work, I think we could have said, well, he's interim, and then I know, Ron, maybe you differ a little bit with me on this, because we're going to name Dr. Michael as the interim superintendent at the meeting that occurred on Tuesday, and then do a cursory national search, but with the intentions that this is Boyd Michael's job to lose. Mm-hmm. And then name him as the permanent superintendent after Dr. Wilcox leaves town, and then maybe somewhere in April or May, name him as a permanent superintendent.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate what both of you have said, and it has merit, what you've said. There was a national search when Clayton Wilcox was brought in, and in that national search then, Boyd Michaels was the third runner-up to Clayton Wilcox. Boyd Michael has been Clayton Wilcox's deputy superintendent all along. So to be interim, and I'm sure he was named interim for a period of time before he becomes the actual superintendent. He's been an interim superintendent, but being deputy superintendent and being with Clayton Wilcox the entire time, the last couple of years. So I think what you wanted to have happen did happen, to go through an exercise again to bring somebody from outside into Washington County when there's a homegrown person that's father served on the school board many years ago, because I served as a county commissioner when his father was a school board member, to really see that he's got the homegrown experience, that this will probably be his last hoorah, so to speak, in the educational field, and he won't be trying to formulate a policy or a plan to boost his resume to go to some other place.
So, Ron, you're thinking, unlike the predecessors with Dr. Wilcox and Dr. Morgan, that we're probably looking at someone who's going to want to be here for beyond the average of 4 to 6 years that a normal superintendent spends within a community.
Or he could retire he could retire at a point. You know, you burn out after a certain amount of time, and then but he's a family name in a community that he's grown up in.
Now, with the things that were put in place with Dr. Wilcox, the school system that we're building downtown, the projects that are on the board with technology in the education field, how do you think he's going to? You think he's going to continue with that, or do you think he's going to sort of massage it to sort of have his own fingerprints on it?
I think he'll work along with his elected school board, all 7 members, and deal with those 7 members, not 4 members, but 7. I see him as a reach out and not try to form, this person against that person. I think he's a consensus builder. And being a consensus builder, I think he will carry through with what Clayton Wilcox put together, which was started, I would remind everybody, that Betty Morgan started the downtown BISFA. And a lot of times I don't hear her name being put out there as that person that stood up and fought for a national system like she did. But I think he will do extremely well over the period of time, and there will be another time to go out for another national person unless somebody else comes up through the ranks like he did.
Well, I think it's good to have a healthy rotation on any kind of board of that nature, not only for the leader but also for the board members too. And I think you used the term earlier, political dynamics, and I kind of think of it as the Housewives of Washington County with some of the craziness that's been going on with the board lately. So,
well, I don't know if my guests are like to be referred to as a housewife, but okay.
If you've ever seen the show, it's about communication and how quickly things can go awry if you're not talking to one another and making things happen. So he's got a lot ahead of him.
So where do you think we're going with? I know you touched on it. What are the challenges do you think he's going to face? I imagine that he probably has the respect of just about every office within the school board system today. So where do you think his challenges are going forward?
I see his main challenges as completing a lot of things that Clayton Wilcox got started. I think Clayton Wilcox was an excellent choice. I hated to see him leave, and I told him, I talked to him one day. I said, I don't think you should have left. I don't think 2 school board members scared you off. I think you should have stayed and fought the fight with all 7 school board members, because I think he was capable of doing that, and he was a good person. And I think he put a lot of good things in place, and I would think Boyd Michael, being deputy superintendent, will carry on closely to what he did. But I don't think you'll see a lot of new things created. I'd love to see a new technical high school. I think our technical high school is the pits. And not because of what they do a really great job, but what they have to do it with.
Their facilities need updated.
There you go.
And what I thought was impressive was the fact that it was a 7-0 board decision to offer the superintendent's job to Dr. Michael. So I want to chime that bit in. So that maybe that's the first part of consensus building.
Danielle,
you have anything else? You have a young son.
I do.
What's he, 11, 12?
He's in 7th grade.
7th grade.
He's 12 years old.
So now he's...
As far as challenges there, curriculum, there's a lot of struggles with, I think, communication with parents and how that is happening. So I don't know, but I wanted to also say something about the technical high school. I'm very impressed by the students there. I talked with them in Annapolis, and you almost think they're adults with how progressive and advanced they are. So I'm anxious to see what happens.
Danielle, I think you've had the last word. Up next, our panel takes a closer look at President Trump's Supreme Court nominee. Stay tuned.